Well, this is the Daytona weekend, and in honor of Daytona, I'm going to make a southern dish. It's a vegetable stew. Well, southern India, that is. I'm going to make a sambar, which is a vegetable stew that has a split pea base, and then we can put in just about whatever vegetables we want. The recipe on the back of the spice box, and I cheat. I don't make this stuff myself. When I go down to the farmer's market there in town and buy it pre-made for me, I can't taste the difference because I don't really have that much of a reference for these dishes, but it is pretty good. And what's sambar masala? And masala means spice powder. Sambar is the super stew. So I'll get right to it. Now, a real quick lesson in Indian dals. What a dal is, and I don't know if you can see from here, this is a split pea. And when they take the hull off, there's a little black one right there, a little bit right there, it still remains. When they take them off and clean them and prep them like this, they call this dal. It's a split pea. And this is chana dal. Chana dal is made with a black pea. The tur dal is made with sort of a white or a gray pea or bean. Then we have moong dal and urad dal. This is urad dal, and it's a much smaller little white bean, urad dal. Now, I'm only going to use the correct dal. Let me put these out of the way. I'm going to use the tur dal, and I have 1 cup measured out. And the first thing we're going to do is get them in there, get them in some water, soaking. These have already been cleaned. This is a good quality dal and it's bought clean. So I'm going to soak them over there while we do some more prep in other areas, because this is going to be the base of the soup, is going to be a split pea base. Now, while the dal is soaking, and we have it up here, while it's soaking, we give it 20-30 minutes or so before we put it in this pot here, which has 6 additional cups of water. We're going to put all this in there. We're going to let it cook down, start coming apart as we do this other stuff. But as it needs to soak about 20-30 minutes, we've got that underway. Now, some of our ingredients that we're going to make this sambar with is we're going to use a couple of different squashes. A butternut squash. I'm going to peel it and use a portion of this, probably about a cup. Here's an acorn, going to use about a cup. I'm going to use some of these little zucchinis. These have to go in last, along like with the eggplant, because these things get soft a little bit faster than these other things do. And of course, some carrot. And the carrot, of course, you peel and slice and put in there. And of course, how long it takes to cook it depends on how big you make your chunks. But it gives it a texture. And of course, some green onion. Might even slip a little bit of garlic in there. I haven't decided yet. Maybe even a little bit of coconut milk. Because this is my sambar. I'm going to do it my way. Now, the eggplant has sort of, if you're not familiar with eggplant, it's not one of my favorite vegetables, just because it's ugly for some reason. That, and I saw Courage the Cowardly Dog, where these marching eggplants went up and started getting Eustace, or what is his wife's name? I forget. Muriel. Started getting Eustace and Muriel. All right. So there we go. Basically, that squash I'll put the other way. We have carrot. Looks like they're ready. And I will do the acorn. Now, the timer's going off on our dal, which is up here. We're going to add this, which is the split pea, to 6 cups of water, which is right here. Oh, if I don't spill it all. And then we're going to have to put this on to start letting it cook, making the base. Meanwhile, we'll now cut our remaining vegetable, which is the zucchini. Now we'll have to put this in at the very last. I'm not going to peel that. but I'll put it in at the very last because it's going to get soft fast. I will probably take the seeds out if these are actually big enough to have seeds. These are pretty little guys. So there we go. Now, so that you don't cut yourself, I'll show you how I personally cut a hard squash like this so that I can trim it off. If you try to use one of these dudes, you're going to have issues because it doesn't do very well. So I'd use a knife and slice away from me. So if I slip, I'm not going to lose any fingers. So they don't end up having to call me Lefty. Now I use these squashes, particularly the butternut and the eggplant, because sambar is often made with pumpkin, and I don't have any fresh pumpkin on Daytona weekend. So we're a long ways away from pumpkin. This is a substitution. I also have something I'm not going to put in there, which is the curry leaves. I do have a source for curry leaves, for live curry leaves, but they're in Nashville, and that's a good ways away on this weekend, and I believe I'm just going to skip them. We're going to make it a little bit different anyway. You can add them. Curry leaves are a nice little addition for authenticity's sake. Now the dal is cooking, and we're going to add our carrots and our hard squash. That is the butternut. We're going to put a little water. And we're going to go ahead and set them on the stove and let them start cooking for a little bit, because our dal is working. This needs to start softening. I don't want them necessarily to go all the way to mush, but I do want them to get softer. And then when the time is right, we'll add the last bit. In the meantime, we have even more work to do. Now, I'm going to take a little pan and a little bit of oil. And I'm going to take a tiny little bit of coriander. These are whole coriander seeds. And I'm going to take a little bit of mustard seed, probably something on the neighborhood of a half a teaspoon. You use black or you can use yellow. There we go. And I'm going to put a little bit of fennel, and I'm talking just a little bit, because I don't have the devil's dung or whatever the little weed is that's very similar to fennel. Come on, you can stop that now. Alrighty. And one thing which you probably will not be able to find unless you go to an Indian store, international market, is fenugreek seed. And I'm going to put a few of those. That's very little, very little. Because remember, our spice, our masala, is going to have everything that we want it to have in it, and we don't have to mess with this. But I'm going to turn this little element on high. Look for a bamboo spoon. And as this warms up, I just want to heat these up until maybe I get the seeds to be a little bit golden brown. Then I'm going to dump them in with the dal, and then I'll spin the dal around as it gets closer and closer to falling apart. It looks like we're getting better. Now, getting a little closer. I think as we start to see the mustard seed heat up a little bit, I'm gonna put that cover on. And this is tamarind paste. Now what this is, it has a slight sour presentation to it. And I'm gonna use, for this amount, I'm gonna use almost a tablespoon. And I'm gonna start getting my spices, my mix, suicide top, my mix into the pot. Can you hear that? That is the mustard seeds popping as they open up. I brought them just up to temperature and then let them stop. Turn the heat off. I need to set that a little bit further back, I guess. Yeah, let's get that back off of the heat. See if I can keep from burning up my handles. And now we add the masala. And let's see how much of this am I going to need according to the recipe on the back. 2.5 tablespoons. I got making like a double batch. So I'm going to use 5 tablespoons of spice powder. All right, need a teaspoon of turmeric. There we go. Exactly 1 teaspoon. So now I'm going to go ahead and just cut these. And I'm going to put some onion. And I'm going to put some garlic, some fresh garlic. Come on, watch the little fingers. There we go. I'm going to add these into this bowl. Put the onions. I'm going to save a little bit of the green tops for a garnish when the bowl is done, when we're finally done, because we need a little color contrast. We're going to go. That one about fell on the floor. There we go. So now, I'm going to cut my little onion. Save for garnish. Put in yon bowl. And some recipes call for tomato. So I'm going to put some of this famous brand, tomato and green chili, into pot yon and add to it in just a minute. Now, if you'll forgive my Palinism, I'm just going to continue to soupify. And it looks like, it really looks like we're properly ready to go. And now I will take my lid off. I will add my mustard seed. Now I'm going to put my little green in there. Then I'm going to put my little red in there. Oh, it's beginning to get good. Now, I'm going to slip over to the sink and drain my vegetables. There's my vegetables. If I can bring them in there. Oh, look at them. You know, just every now and then, we need to eat a little something that doesn't have deer in it. Look at that right there. Let me slide it over here to this burner where we get it a little closer in focus. The sides of my pot don't look too appetizing, but that right there is some good stuff. I guarantee. Now I know that you guys know how to do this, but you know how when you're cooking, you do a taste, you always use 2 spoons. Use a little spoon to dip from and a big spoon to taste from That way you never get your human germs into your pot. So I'm going to check this. I add a little salt. I'm going to check it to see if I need to add a little bit more. See? And you do this so it doesn't drip. If you were to drip, it wouldn't drip in the pot. It's pretty good. I might add a little bit more salt just because I'm from the South and I like it a little bit salty, maybe more so than some folks do. There we go. What do we have in here? We have carrots and butternut squash, eggplant, a little onion. I didn't put the garlic in yet. How could I forget? I had to put a little garlic in there. These are those Mexican peppers. They're winter time, so they're really not very hot. I might need to add a little red pepper. Now we're just about ready to serve. So we take a dipper and we try not to drip it across the top of the bowl like I just did. And we take a little bit of green onion. You can do this lengthwise like the French like to do. And now traditional sambar. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you next time. My regrets for not having deer in this recipe.